check out this sweet hat my wife gave me. Okay, it's like 7 degrees outside today, so I thought this might be a good topic for today's video. Trail running in the winter. If you're from the frozen Northeast like me or anywhere cold, you might find some challenges with trying to trail run through the winter. And one of those major challenges for me was finding traction. When the ground's frozen, icy, or packed snow, your shoes just don't cut it anymore. So what do? You've got a couple of options. You can go to REI or go on Amazon and buy some items like these, and they might work. Here I've got some Microspikes, some full-on mountaineering crampons. These aren't really for running, and some snowshoes. Snowshoes work well, but they suck to run in. So let's talk about Microspikes for a second. Microspikes are basically a rubber elastic band with some chains and spikes that go on the outside of your shoe. It's kind of a messy installation job, but you get the idea. When they're on your shoe, they obviously give you some pretty aggressive traction. These are awesome for hiking or really steep, icy climbs up hills, but they do have some drawbacks. First off, they can get snagged on things and actually get peeled off your shoe pretty easily. That happens all the time to me. Second of all, these chains on the bottom, if they get wet, they end up like balling up snow, and it becomes like this huge mound on the bottom of your foot, and you end up like rocking on it. So you always have to stop and kind of bash the snow out of them. They do serve their purpose, they do have their place, but for me, when I'm running on my local trail system, it's mainly like packed snow. It's not so much solid ice, but really hard, dense packed snow. And these are actually overkill for that kind of condition. You find your foot kind of rocking on these tips unevenly, and that can actually fatigue your foot if you're going for a long run. Now, Microspikes does make a more minimalist pair of these that has smaller teeth for running. I'll actually link these down in the description if you're interested in them, but I've got a much cheaper do-it-yourself option that I'm going to show you now. For this do-it-yourself project, we're going to need a couple of things. An old pair of running shoes that are still comfortable and usable that just don't have any tread left, and we'll need some material from our local hardware store. I'll be right back. And back. Right here I've got some number 6x3/8 self-drilling sheet metal screws. See those there? That's what you need. The hex head kind, preferably with a flathead groove. The other important aspect of this is you want to make sure the sole of your shoe is thick enough for these screws. I happen to know these Ultra Lone Peak 3.0s have a 25mm stack height, which should be plenty of space for a 3/8 screw. Now what we're going to do is we're going to literally take these little screws and insert them into the sole of the shoe. Oh yeah, and using a power drill for this, it makes things a lot quicker. I'll be right back. And there we go. So because I've done this before, I know where I like to have the screws, and mainly populating them right in the forefoot for me works the best, but your mileage may vary. You might have a different kind of foot or have a different kind of stride, so you might want to experiment with where they make the most sense. These are stainless steel screws, so they're very hard and very durable, so you can run over rocks and roads and stuff, and they will wear down over time, but they do last a while. One thing to watch out for is they can fall out or get snagged and pop out, and you don't really want to be littering all over your local trails, so if you can afford it, if you've got thicker soles, it might be worth it to get a longer screw, like a 1/2 inch screw. I'm using a 3/8 screw because I don't want to poke my foot when I'm running. So this is definitely the cheapest option for traction in the winter. Get this. All of these screws, I think I bought like 24 of them, grand total, $2.88. And you've probably got an old pair of trail runners kicking around, so make good use of them. $2.88 plus the shoes. Cheap way to get out there running in the wintertime. Now there is a company out there called, I think, Ice Trekkers. That might be the name. I might be wrong, but I'll put it down in the description anyways. They make screws specifically for this purpose. They've actually got like taller ridges than these self-drilling screws. I find these work fine, but it might be worth looking into those if you've got a little bit more in your budget and you want them to be more of a permanent solution. For me, these little self-drilling screws do the trick, and if the conditions get too rough and these aren't cutting it, I just throw on my Microspikes and I'm good to go. This is just my little life hack for people who live in cold environments that are trying to get outside and run. It's challenging to get out there in the cold. There's, dressing for it and layering. There's the footwear, keeping your toes warm, your hands warm, all that stuff. It's a big challenge, and this is just one piece of the puzzle. So I hope this helps some of you out there who've been having a hard time running in the snow or have been thinking about spending like $50 on a traction device. These $2 screws might be a good way to go. I'll put everything I showed in this video down in the description below with links to product pages on Amazon. And I hope you're getting outside and still training hard even though it's cold outside. And that's all I got for today. I'm gonna get these shoes on and go run outside and see how they do.